Asking questions will truly save your relationship. People really don't understand the power of asking questions to get better results in a relationship. It's really the questions we ask of ourselves and our partners that actually changes the dynamics, right? It's actually the piece that moves things forward. Why? Because 9 out of 10 times, whenever you're having conflict or issues with your partner, you're both making commands and demands at each other. You're speaking in absolute, speaking your perspectives as if it's the truth or it's what's right and the other person's wrong, right? All these things that makes the other person want to defend themselves. But when you ask questions, you offer your partner an opportunity to challenge their own way of thinking. When someone challenges their own way of thinking, it's a game changer because now it's not them just arguing against your point. They're going through their own reasoning system to make sense out of the things that they're saying or doing or whatever that you're asking questions in respect of. The problem for most people is you're not asking the right questions, right? So the question becomes, are you asking empowering questions or are you asking disempowering questions? And here's what the difference is. An empowering question is a question you ask that the results or the answers you'll get from it stems to put you or you and your partner in a more positive, more healthy and capable space to control your outcome towards what you want versus questions that causes more conflict, puts more fuel on the fire and ignites things worse and causes more of the destruction of your relationship. But if most people learn a simple little hack, if you want to call it that, that whenever you want to go ask a question of your partner, ask yourself this: is this question out of love in service of the relationship, or is it maybe out of ego or out of incrimination attempts, right? Because see, so oftentimes you can ask the same exact question, but given your intent in asking it can get very different results or responses from your partner. And I'll give you a great example of what I mean. Take a scenario where, let's say, you really been wanting to go to the store to go get a few things with your partner. And so you guys been talking about that all week or whatever, right? And around when that time frame comes around, right, maybe you guys been butting heads a little bit. So you're not in the most pleasant of spaces with each other, but you're still getting along overall. And so when the day kind of comes to go to that store or whatever, what have you, right? You said to your partner ahead of time, hey, whenever that day comes, we're going to go together. Maybe it's on Wednesday or whatever. When Wednesday comes, we're going to go to that store. I want to go. But you guys have this little rift, so you're not speaking as much. So maybe you're upstairs whenever the moment comes and your partner's about to go get in the car to go. And you come downstairs. They're gone. They've gone to the store. Instantly, you're upset. You're mad because, oh, I can't believe they left me. And instantly, you make the assumption maybe that they did it because they were upset with you or you guys were in this little rift. Now you're feeling away. So when they get back home, right, your first question to them is, why'd you leave me? Why would you do that? You know I wanted to go. Why would you, be so rude and just leave me behind? Or why didn't you, come get me or whatever? Instantaneously, your energy is very accusatory and the question has interrogative energy to it, right? You're trying to get them to almost admit why they did something messed up, or you're assuming the negative, right? To where they're feeling that and now they feel the need to defend themselves, defend their identity, defend their character. Versus, what if you ask the same question, but you are genuinely curious, right? So yeah, you still feel a way that they left and you're kind of confused as to why they would have left you. You understand you guys are butting heads, but at the end of the day, you know your partner's heart and they would never intentionally just, undermine you or just discredit your thoughts and your feelings and cut you out and just go do it without you, right? They wouldn't do that. So you're genuinely curious to understand why, even though you guys been having some, differences lately. So you go to them and you say, hey, maybe I know we, kind of butting heads lately and I don't want to make assumptions, but how come you didn't come to get me to go to the store when you know I wanted to go with you, right? You're genuinely curious to want to understand, to where the energy is felt that way and your partner doesn't feel attacked. They feel you're genuinely trying to make sense out of what happened because they know you really wanted to go as well. And with that kind of approach, then now maybe your partner gets to open the door to say something to you like, well, oh, I'm sorry, I actually did. I called upstairs and said, hey, you want to go? And because you didn't respond, I made an assumption, which they shouldn't do either, right? But it happens often. I made an assumption that you were still upset with me from us butting heads a little bit. So I decided to go onto the store because I thought you didn't want to go with me any longer, right? To where, yeah, it still could have been a, well, hey, come make sure, confirm that I didn't want to go. Don't just assume it. But their intent is not in the space that maybe you initially thought. But you can only get that kind of a result or response out of them if you approach them with a better energy, with an empowering question, and a question that's coming from the right intent. But when you go in guns blazing with a question like that, right, to where you're accusing them already, then now they're less likely to even respond with the actual thoughts that they went through to make the decision they did. They're going to just fight you back. Probably going to say something like, oh, look, you didn't want to go anyways. Right? They're going to cut straight to that point to where you're going to assume they were intentionally being a jerk because, they were mad at you, right? And just didn't want you to come. So they told themselves you just didn't want to go. When in reality, they actually tried to make an attempt, but given the circumstance, genuinely thought you didn't want to go with them any longer. Night and day of a difference in a relationship when you ask better questions, more empowering questions from the right energy of intent in service of the relationship, not in service of your ego, in genuine curious attempts to find clarity and understanding, and not in attempts to catch your partner red-handed. One has a positive frequency and vibration to it. The other one has a very negative one. And here's the best part. The more you use positive, empowering questions, the more you train your mind to think positively and come up with better and more positive answers, and you keep a more positive state, which means you bring a more positive energy to the environment in your relationship. Let's get it.